Welcome back to the Explainer, everyone. Okay, today we're unpacking a concept that is absolutely going to flip everything you thought you knew about the supernatural. Seriously, just throw out the dusty haunted houses, the rattling chains, all those terrifying demons lurking in the shadows. The source material we're diving into today introduces us to a hilarious, just utterly absurd new genre, and that is the modern viral ghost. I mean, imagine for a second being a spirit stuck in the afterlife, right? But instead of just haunting some creepy Victorian mansion to find your peace, your eternal salvation depends entirely on your internet clout. Yeah, you heard that right. We're exploring a world where ghosts literally need to go viral to achieve supernatural liberation. It's wild. So, to really wrap our heads around how this works, we've got to meet our primary case study. His name is Babloo. Now, Babloo is a ghost who tragically passed away in a car accident way back in 1980. But, well, his afterlife isn't exactly going as planned. You see, he's currently failing at the single most important thing a ghost is supposed to do, which is, be scary. He is quite literally failing his first year scaring practicals. And the reason why is just gold. During his exam, he accidentally said, "excuse me," before trying to playfully move a chair. Because of this little slip-up, his ghost community is relentlessly making fun of him. They've branded him a Sanskari Bhoot, which essentially translates to a highly polite, cultured, and traditional ghost. It's such a hilarious dilemma. You've got this spirit who is just way too nice for his own good, sitting in an empty chair across from his human roommate, absolutely terrified of being a failure in the afterlife. And this ridiculous pressure he's under completely redefines a very ancient concept for the digital age. Let's look at the definition of Mukti. Now, traditionally, Mukti means spiritual liberation, right? It's the ultimate release from the cycle of life and death. But in this modern haunting genre we're looking at, the goalposts have completely shifted. Mukti is no longer just about, deep spiritual enlightenment. It has become this highly bureaucratic status that you only achieve by passing literal haunting exams or, and this is the crazy part, hitting 1 million views on a social media reel. Our sources show how these ancient, profound spiritual goals have been completely gamified into this high-stakes clout-chasing exam system. Basically, if you don't pass the test, you don't get your liberation. It's as simple as that. Which brings us to a massive structural shift in how hauntings actually work nowadays. According to the Viral Spirit source guide, ghosts are facing a brand new dilemma. What we're looking at here are camera-shy millennial ghosts who are getting incredibly desperate. To pass these modern haunting exams we just talked about, they can't just spook some unsuspecting victim in the dark anymore. Nope, they actually have to stage real hauntings, specifically designed to scare famous YouTubers. And who do you think they team up with to pull this off? Failed vloggers. It's actually a beautifully cynical, symbiotic relationship when you think about it. The human vlogger gets the ultimate viral content to save their dying channel, and the ghost gets the 1 million views they desperately need to pass their exam and achieve mukti. Win-win, right? And this dynamic brilliantly illustrates the massive gap between the past and the present. Let's just compare the methodologies for a second. Think about your classic, old-school haunting. This is exactly what our guy Babloo is used to. Hanging around gloomy graveyards, throwing random objects across a room, saying boo, or just being a chilly draft of air that makes someone get up and close a window. It's super outdated, and frankly, it just doesn't get views anymore. But then, look at the modern haunting. Under the guidance of his human roommate, a guy named Aryan, Babloo is learning that modern scares happen in overpriced organic cafes. It's all about making smart devices float in midair and causing what Aryan calls panga, which basically translates to causing trouble or making a ruckus. You literally have to create trendy urban chaos if you want to stand out in today's saturated supernatural market. So the big question is, how exactly do you train a hopelessly polite ghost to cause modern urban chaos? Well, you need a system. Enter Aryan. He's acting as Babloo's mentor here, though frankly, he's mostly just hoping to get a ghost who will do his household chores in return. But Aryan has developed a highly specific 3-step Panga formula to train his spirit for a high-stakes haunt. Step 1 is the absurd setup. Step 2 is the mission, and Step 3 is value delivery. Aryan realizes early on that Babloo completely lacks the hook. In this modern niche, you don't just jump out of a closet. You have to curate a highly specific, highly viral scenario. It's practically an art form. Now, what I find absolutely fascinating is how surgical Step 2, the mission, actually is. It's like a heist. Aryan takes Babloo to a trendy cafe. Of course, Babloo is invisible to everyone except Aryan, who is secretly coaching him via a little collar mic. The target? A group of influencers taking selfies. The execution? Babloo has to use his telekinesis to make one of their phones hover in the air, just long enough for the influencers to think it's some cool new feature. And then comes the punchline. He drops that incredibly expensive piece of tech directly into a green matcha latte. Aryan assures Babloo that ruining an overpriced aesthetic drink is the modern-day equivalent of a jump scare. And guess what? It guarantees a perfect 10 out of 10 scare score from the afterlife examiners. And this brings us to a crucial point, summarized perfectly by Aryan's own philosophy. Right after the phone plops into the latte and the influencers absolutely scream in horror, Aryan turns to his camera to explain his concept of value delivery. He says, you take a normal urban situation and add a Desi supernatural twist. It's not about horror, it's about the Panga. That really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's not about the existential dread of the afterlife anymore. It's about the sheer, undeniable annoyance of having your $1,000 phone ruined while you're just trying to get a good Instagram photo. It's petty, it's hilarious, and most importantly, it is highly, highly effective for modern audiences. All right, let's break down the actual economics here, the literal exam rubric these spirits are facing. As we just saw, dropping a phone in a matcha latte nets you a solid 10 out of 10 scare score for your practicals. Not bad. Teaming up to scare a famous YouTuber? Well, that hits the 1 million views metric, resulting in an automatic exam pass. Boom. Done. But here is the ultimate jackpot. Getting caught by news reporters. At first, Babloo is terrified of this happening, like ending up in one of those viral fail videos. But Aryan quickly points out that in this bizarre system, making the evening news actually results in an instant promotion straight to your fourth-year exams. The rule of thumb here is, the more public and viral the chaos, the faster your academic progression. It's all about the metrics. When you track Babloo's journey, you really see how this training completely transforms his confidence. It's actually kind of sweet. We start way back in 1980 with Babloo's unfortunate car accident. Then we move to his past failure in year 1 where he's just mocked for being way too polite. But look at the present day. Through Aryan's rigorous training, he successfully executes that latte scare. Babloo is absolutely ecstatic. He literally feels his Mukti coming on and even catches a quick glimpse of the bureaucratic afterlife office opening up for him. But Aryan has to remind him, slow down, Casper, training isn't over yet. Which leads us to this hilarious little glimpse into his year 2 progression. As Aryan is wrapping up his vlog, his own chair suddenly slides back on its own. A startled Aryan yells at Babloo, who just laughs and says he's practicing his second-year moves. Our overly polite ghost is finally learning to cause a little Panga of his own. Honestly, it is just an incredibly fun style of chaos that completely reimagines what it means to be a spirit in the 21st century. It's a total blast, and it leaves us with this brilliant parting thought straight from Aryan's vlog. So, I want to pose a question directly to all of you right now. If you were a ghost operating under these crazy modern rules, what mundane human thing would you haunt to get your 1 million views? Seriously, think about it. Would you mess with the heavyweights at a local gym? Would you cause absolute mind-numbing bureaucratic chaos in a government office? Or would you go for the ultimate modern scare and selectively haunt a Wi-Fi router right in the middle of a super important Zoom call? I know what I'd pick. Think about your strategy for achieving Mukti, and until next time, keep it spooky and maybe stay away from the matcha lattes.